Felahy employment lawyers specialize in all forms of employment law. Alan Felahy has dealt with certain cases that have been the subject of creating new law. Being a lawyer is part of a family legacy. Even his grandfather was a judge. Seeking civil justice has been a hallmark of his family history. Let's meet Alan Felahy. Hello, Alan.
Hi, Tim.
Thanks very much for coming in. Same here. Please sit down. So tell me, Alan, how'd you get into the law profession?
Well, my grandfather was a judge for many years, and it was either law or being a physician. Both of my parents are doctors. And hearing them talk about their long hours, I thought becoming a lawyer might be a better job, only to find that the hours are even longer than my parents.
I was going to ask you that. Did it pay off in that regard?
You know, I love what I do, and so it does pay off intellectually and emotionally. Not always financially, but it's hard to put a dollar value on in loving what you do.
You better believe it. And you know, that's good for your clients too. When you've got a professional that loves what he's doing, you're going to get better service. But that's just kind of an aside. How long have you been doing it?
Almost 18 years now.
Okay, and what kind of cases do you handle?
Almost exclusively employment litigation matters. So we handle wrongful termination, sexual harassment, racial harassment, gender discrimination, wage and hour violations, class action work as well. We primarily represent plaintiffs, but we do some defense work from time to time.
I guess that keeps you sharp doing both sides of it. You kind of get to look at it from the other side's eyes from time to time, and that probably helps you when you're representing the other side.
I think it's important to always see both sides, and doing both types of law, both plaintiff and defense, gives me a better perspective in handling the client's cases.
What would you guess if you had to state a typical case or type of case or a typical situation where it makes sense that for someone to contact you? Give me an idea of what that typical case might be.
You know, we get a lot of calls these days from people who have been fired. Either they've been fired or they're about to be fired, and it could be a variety of reasons. It could be because of their age, it could be because of their health condition, it could be because they've complained about something at work that they perceive to be illegal, and they're being targeted for either a layoff or termination for that reason. But those are usually the calls we get, are people that have been working for a company for a number of years, who are concerned about their job, who are concerned about their community, who do the right thing, or are simply sick, or older workers that are being selected for termination, or in this instance, deselected for employment because of those various things that they're calling about.
And will you be upfront with the terminated employee when maybe there is either justification or the termination was for a different matter, a financial reason, the company was, would you kind of let that prospect know that whether he's got a good case or not?
Absolutely. I think being completely transparent at the outset of the client contact is really critical to maintaining both a good client relationship and also providing the person important feedback on what their case may be worth, what they can expect to go through, and the various processes and steps that we would have to take in an approximate timeline. Most people are concerned with that as well.
What makes you different from other employment attorneys?
You know, I love what I do. A lot of lawyers are in this profession and they don't enjoy it. They are in it because they didn't know what else to do, or they are stressed out by the hours. This is my hobby, and I don't say that simply because we're on TV. I genuinely love what I do. If I had all the money in the world and I could do anything, I would still do this.
Still be doing it. That's wonderful.
I would still be doing this.
And again, as I said, that's good for you and good for the client. So that's a marvelous situation. Are there specific types of cases that you're looking for now?
We are still looking for those single plaintiff cases where somebody has been fired, somebody has been discriminated against, somebody has been retaliated against. Those are kind of our bread and butter. We get those all the time, and we are always looking to help people out in those instances. And there's kind of a dearth of lawyers that really specialize in that particular field, and I'm one of them, so I'm happy to help people.
And are you finding that there really are a lot of victims of this type of employment problem?
You know, there are. With the economy, of course, there's a pressure upon employers to select people when things go poorly for the economy, for termination. And typically what happens is they select the people that they want out for other reasons. be it for age reasons, disability reasons. They had complained about something that they thought was illegal in the workplace. They are discriminating against a particular subset of people. Those are typically the times that these sorts of issues come to a head. And of course, that happens cyclically here in this economy. And as the economy gets better, we see a little less of those sorts of cases. And as things go into a downturn, they increase. That isn't to say that the employer has always legitimate reasons, but that those reasons come to the surface because now there's a reason to get rid of somebody, and they pick these particularly susceptible employees.
Now, let's say someone has been terminated from his or her position. Often he's asked to sign some type of release or some type of document. Should that employee sign it?
Never, without consulting with a lawyer, because typically the release releases all claims, and an employer isn't likely to present a fired employee with a release unless they think they might have done something wrong. So the fact that an employee who's been fired gets a release should be a red flag right away.
And if you have signed that release, though, I assume that there are still things that you could do. I mean, it's better not to sign it, but the employee shouldn't give up if he has signed it.
Of course. Now, if you're over the age of 40, there's an automatic 7-day revocation period. And if the release doesn't have that revocation period in it, it's void as a matter of law. So there are things to get out of the release after you've signed it, if you have.
Well, your passion, enthusiasm, your love for the field, again, that pays off. Happy for both you and the clients that come across you, because that is something you want in an attorney, and I know that's not easy to find. Well, thank you very much, Alan Felahy. It's again, great work you're doing. Your contact information is on the screen. What's the best way to contact you? Do you like to have an initial phone consultation, or do people make an appointment and just come in and talk to you, or what's the best way to go about things?
We get contacts either by email at our website or by phone. Typically, my first point of contact with the client is either by email or phone, and if we perceive there's a case there, we do bring clients in to interview with me. They get an in-person consultation with me rather than with a paralegal, and I will then assess their case and give them a pretty good assessment of where they go from there.
Well, terrific. Thanks very much, Alan. I sure appreciate it.
My pleasure. Thank you for having me.